Hello, good morning. Namaste, this is Saili Karkar. Welcome to my channel. Friends, I hope all of you are working to shift your consciousness and stepping beyond that beautiful mind of yours. Today, friends, I'm going to talk about a topic of surrender. Now, you might have heard this word a lot. So, in today's video, I'm going to talk about what surrender truly means, who are we surrendering to, and why do we need to surrender? Right? Now, we hear this topic and we hear this word, we feel different kind of emotions and thoughts. For me, when I used to hear the word surrender, I used to think of a defeat. Like if there is a war going on, one party surrenders and they kind of accept the defeat and they lose and the other person wins. Or it's like kind of a weakness that you can't fight it, so you're surrendering it. That's the common notion of the word surrender. But what if there are no fights, no conflicts, no competitions, there are no winners or losers? What does surrender mean then? So, surrender in the world of working on yourself and shifting consciousness means that you are literally surrendering the control your mind has on yourself. So, you're not really surrendering to somebody else or something external. You're not surrendering to that Almighty God or to some religion or to some other people or to some situations or even organizations. You are literally surrendering to yourself. How does that sound? If you are surrendering to your highest self, to your highest wisdom, to your truth, does it feel more weakening or does it feel more powerful? It literally means that you are actually rising to your highest power, you're rising to your highest potential. So rather than thinking that we are losing on something, we are letting go of the control of the mind because the mind has a limited idea of how to live our life. We are letting go of the control of that and we are rising to the highest wisdom and truth that is available to us. So only when you surrender your mind, you start getting the access to the highest wisdom and pure love that is available to you all the time. So now let's take an example. How do we really surrender? What do we do? Now we are all used to doing a lot of planning, having agendas, having goals. Everything is done with an idea of achieving something. We never do something just for the sake of doing, do we? Because we are not used to it. Like everywhere, if you see on social media, on LinkedIn, or anywhere, everybody has an agenda. We do something because either we want to increase our following, or we want to get money, or we want to get that success, or we want to get that job or relationship or something. We always have an ulterior agenda in doing any actions that we do. Or we have a goal that we have set out and we like, okay, I have to achieve this position. And in order to do so, I must do step 1, 2, 3. Now, all of this thought process comes from our mind. Because we are doing the series Beyond the Mind, we are now ready to step beyond this old way of thinking, of achieving something externally. This is the way our mind literally fools us. It constantly keeps us in the seeking mode of getting something externally, of achieving some sort of success outside ourselves. But when we start observing our mind and transforming those different limitations, we start realizing that the power is really within us and not outside. And what happens then? Once you start shifting the consciousness, you realize that you got to surrender all these goals and agendas and everything planning that you're holding on to. And you must just have that faith in the unknown. You ask me, how do we create something after that? If I have no plan, no goal in life, what am I going to do? Well, that's the most interesting part. That's like a magical part. Once you learn to surrender that beautiful mind of yours, you start getting beautiful intuitions. You start getting insights like quick wisdom, like a quick knowing that you already know what you're supposed to do. And once you get that, there is no doubt in it. There's like a complete knowing inside you that tells you what you're supposed to do next, or what words you're supposed to speak, or what you're not supposed to do. You actually start accessing your intuition that comes from your higher self. You start learning to actually guide through your intuition and take steps and have courage to actually walk the path of your intuition. This would never happen if you do not surrender the very strong hold that our mind has upon us. In the journey of shifting your mind, you will keep falling back on your mind because that's natural, you're used to it. So you will keep falling back on what the external world is doing, like achieving a goal. I'm not against goals. I'm not saying that goals are bad. You need them if you're working through from the level of your mind. All of us needed it at some point of time. But now that we are committed to shifting beyond the mind, it is no more about goal settings. It is about freeing yourself from the way of thinking of yesterday. So now what happens? You start flowing with the flow of this universe. You start getting these intuitions, start getting these insights, and you just know what you're supposed to do. In this way, you have actually freed yourself to the highest potential. For example, I'll give you an example of myself. I used to work in corporate. I was working as a manager, project manager. My limited mind would have thought of my next goal of either a next job or a next position or some more money, yeah, because that's what we have learned through our world. But only when I surrendered my mind's goals, I realized this potential within me to share my thoughts with the world in terms of videos or in terms of my writing. So only when you surrender that, something beautiful starts coming through you, something that you were not totally aware of, something that you never dreamed of, because actually the world and life is much more beyond our mind, the limited mind. So my dear friends, my today's message is just that every time you get that mind's agenda going in front of you, the goals coming in front of you, or the compulsive way of constantly seeking something outside or constantly seeking to fill up your time with actions and doings and engaging with the external world, surrender that mind. Surrender completely, like give a deep exhale if you need to, and be in the present moment. The surrender will also help you to learn to be in the present moment, because you will be renewed every moment when you surrender, and new things will keep coming to you, keep flowing to you, which are beyond your imaginations. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Thank you.